Okay. All right, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Northborough Cultural Council meeting on January 28th, Thursday, and it is 6:42. And I guess roll call is in order. Lori?
Here.
Okay, Craig?
I'm here.
And Selvi?
Here.
Vic?
Here.
Leslie?
Here.
And that's it. And myself, Terry. So I need to read the remote meeting rules. This open meeting of Northborough Cultural Council is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Cultural Council are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows Northborough Cultural Council to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Ensuring public access does not mean public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting will not be featuring public comments. And with that, I will go down to the first item, which is approval of minutes. However, for January 14th, however, we did not have that meeting. So we will pass right over to the treasurer's report. And Craig, anything
Thank you,
to
Terry.
add?
Since we last met, I have one new additional 2020 grant reimbursement paperwork package that came in from St. Bernadette's School. So we'll get that one processed. It's nice. We've just got a few of the 2020 grants still to go, making progress there as they hold those events. And then I don't have any other updates. However, I thought going into our discussion tonight, it would be beneficial for the record to restate that for the 2021 grant cycle, what we are reviewing and what our task here is to look at 22 grant requests for this coming fiscal year. Those 22 requests are for a total of $15,755. However, our challenge is, as we've reported to the state, according to the process, we have $8,311 that we are able to grant. So again, that's part of our challenge here, is how to judiciously go through all these terrific requests. However, we have just a little over half of what's been requested. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much for that. And I think that is well worth highlighting, that we are very thankful for all of the people who have, in spite of COVID, are participating and sharing their art, sharing their talent, and helping to connect people, connect the community. And while we would absolutely love to grant all of the requests for more amounts than what we were able, we just aren't able to. So as most cultural councils do, they have a set of priorities, which I believe are posted online. And so those are our guidelines. And so given what Craig, our treasurer, has just discussed, we have double the amount of money being requested than what we have available. So it is our charge to do the best that we can with what we have and use our guidelines as how the granting is permitted. So with the help of working groups where people have reached out to get more information from the requests. And that's what we hope to do tonight, and to go down through the list as much as we can with the information that we have available to us, and either approve or deny the request based on our priorities. And much of that is going to revolve around what is for our community. So community-based, Northborough-based. So that is one of our driving priorities. So I just want to make that clear for anybody watching, any of the people who've requested grants, that we just don't have enough money to go around, which I'm sure is the story for most local cultural councils. So with that, before we go into the grants, our next agenda item is the next meeting date. Do we want to do that now? Are we able to come to an agreement on this? We have our next meeting as the 28th of January at,
This is the 28th.
oh, sorry. Yes,
February 11th is the next meeting.
February 11th. Okay, yes. And then following
Also at 6:30.
also at 6:30. And I think that was the last meeting we made. My apologies. I've been a little bit all over the map today. Is it appropriate to say that the 25th at 6:30, is that, does that meet with everyone's, unless something else comes up or we need to consider something else? So 25th of February, will that work for people? Or is that a vacation that I haven't noted down, or I'm not watching the school calendar, I'm on a whole other calendar right now. Will that work?
Works for me.
Works for me
Okay.
too.
Okay, so yes, next meeting is February 11th at 6:30. Does 6:30 work for everyone? Is that better? Okay. Leslie, will that work for you? Okay. And everyone, okay. February 25th. That wasn't painful. All right. February 25th. All right, next item is our grant cycle submissions. So what we are going to do is just go down the list of them. Very briefly discuss, but our charge tonight is to go through the entire list and come up with approval or denial. And I want to emphasize, we are very grateful to all the people, if anyone is out there listening, that is on the list. We are very grateful for your submissions, the hard work, your talent. So whatever money we can or cannot give is not reflective of what you can contribute to the community. And I would encourage you to apply for other grants in other years, and to not lose sight of those possibilities. So with that being said, musical story times, which was,
Terry,
yes.
you got a hand up?
Oh, go ahead. I don't see a hand, but.
I put it down, Terry. It's a good opportunity to remind everybody of other grants that are available through MCC, Mass Cultural Council,
Yes.
in addition to local cultural councils. So everyone should be checking the MCC website for new opportunities.
And Selvi, can you just remind people of what that website is?
Sure, it's mass-culture.org, www.mass-culture.org. And Craig has more information on this later.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So going down one by one, are we ready to go? So, okay, so we're just going to stick to the priorities and the facts and manage with whatever information we were able to receive so that we can go forward and keep the ball rolling. So musical story times is our first one. And so this is virtual storytelling with musical instruments being played, and the I just have another screen here I'm reading from, and it services the communities of Shrewsbury, Northborough, and Westborough primarily. The project location is Westborough, David French Music, and it's supposed to be zero cost to the people. And the amount being requested is $350. And so I don't think I need to go into too much detail because we have quite a few to go into. So I guess I'm looking for, Lori left, here she comes. Okay, so I need to find out, and when we vote, if we can just leave for the benefit of Bic, leave our hands up for the yeses for a moment, nos for a moment, just so she can record this. And I'm going to do my best to record.
While there's a silence, I will offer another preamble. Just because we have a vote, either this is meeting our priorities and we intend to go ahead, or perhaps not, that does not mean the final value of the grant is decided tonight. That will be a follow-on meeting as we determine how many grants we are going forward with and disperse that amongst the available funds as we discussed. So it should not be assumed that an approval for a grant this evening means the full requested amount is what it's going to be. That's all to be determined.
Correct. Thank you very much for stating that. And that's very, very important to know. So when I say the numbers of what has been requested, and this information is available on the MCC website, we have not gone forward with that piece yet. We just need to get through this piece of the process. All right, so musical times. This is, the project date is March 6th, November 6th of 2021. If there's no discussion, I'm looking for how many people are in favor. And so okay. And not in favor. I'm just going to state it. And so that's 0, 6 in favor, 0 no, and amount to be determined at a later time. The second one is duo pianists, composers and educators, Whipple and Morales in concert. This has a date of between March and December. It is primarily, it's based out of, or has been performing for some towns that are closer to the Cape, Wareham, and that surrounding area. They are requesting $750. Virtual dual pianists focuses on community around the Cape. Organizers' plan is to distribute to local cable access stations where LCCs have contributed. So I, let's see. Yep. Okay. So the cost for participants is intended to be 0. So this would be virtual on local cable TV for LCCs that contribute. So I guess I'm looking for an overall. Any quick questions? No? Okay, Bic?
Yeah, I just want to state the obvious, if I heard it correctly. The performance is not in Northborough. It's not in a surrounding town near Northborough. It does not involve any Northborough residents, but Northborough residents can benefit from it if they watch the TV program. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They would be able to possibly watch it. I don't know what the show dates are going to be exactly. It just gives a range of time. So I don't have that information. And for anybody who's interested, they would have to go online to look and see where they're playing and maybe watch online through those local cable stations. So I'm going to ask for who's in favor. Show of hands for yes. Okay, I'm going to say 0 is what I see. And show of hands for no. Okay, so that's 6. Okay, so, and to restate what Vic just said, that is not local to our community. So based on our list of priorities, that was one of the, that would have been one of the driving factors in that. Okay, and I'm going to keep moving on. The next one is the Solar Jazz Festival. Currently, it's scheduled for summer of 2021 to be determined. And so briefly, that cost to people to attend is 0. The First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church is where it shows that they would be holding it. Date to be determined. It's an environmentally focused event, and many participants, bands, not sure exactly who it will be, so that is something to be developed. The amount being requested is for $2,500. Again, I'm going to say that this evening is not to determine money, but only on which grant request we can move forward on. So I'm going to ask for a show of hands for yes. I'm always going to go with the yes first to keep it smooth. Okay, so I'm seeing a show of 6 hands. Okay, Vic? Okay, and a show of hands for no. And so that anybody looking, watching can see on the screen that we were all in favor. Moving on to the next one. This is the AVM Assabet Valley Master Singers Concert. So this is a reoccurring concert, and the locations are Northborough, Westborough, Southborough, Marlborough, and the cost of participation. So there is a ticket cost, and it ranges. And so some things are going to be determined because I'm not sure of the dates as yet. Oh, yes, Selby.
Through the chair, Terry, would it be easier if the people who reviewed the grant kind of briefly go over it as we
Sure.
vote down?
I'm just trying to keep it moving. So if you would like to do that, I'm welcome to that. And somebody will have to pinch hit for Suzanne.
You can do
I think we
mine.
can do that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not
Doesn't
saying
matter.
it because
Go
it's
ahead.
my turn, but
While
Please,
there's a
Selby.
break, recall, I have to abstain from this one.
Okay.
Mhm. I'm sorry, I interrupted you and may have caused a confusion. Do you want to take a vote on this and then continue, or?
Oh, so the
I mean,
if you want to go over it, no vote. Just we're going to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I think we're all familiar with AVM from previous years. This year they're asking for their concert season 2021, as Terry said, and there's no additional information. So that's all I have on them.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to ask for a show of hands for approval. And again, this is not for money amount, just restating for all of the same for the grants. So all hands in favor? All right, so that's 5. Vic, just note Craig needs to abstain.
Yeah.
And so that's all of us. So, and the no's, that's going to be 0.
Mhm.
Okay, and Selby, if you wouldn't mind taking us on to the next one.
It's by Ruth Harkovitz, and she will be performing here at the Northborough Senior Center for Seniors and Veterans on December 7th, 2021. And she's asking for $550.
Okay,
There's no virtual component to this. It would be in person.
okay, all right. Any discussion? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, so I'm going to ask for a vote on this. All in favor?
Sylvia, I believe it's $275 is the grant.
275, yes.
You are correct. 550 was the total cost. Thank you.
Okay, so, and again, amount that we are able to give to be determined, but that is their requested amount. So all hands up in favor of approving this grant request. And I see all 6. Okay, and not in favor, and that is 0. Perfect. And that was Happy Holidays, the name of that submission. The next one is Symphony Pro Musica 2021 season. Selvi, would you like to take this?
Similarly to AVM, they're asking for support for their 2021 spring and summer concert series. This group will be performing at Hudson High School and or St. Mark's School if COVID situation allows them. If not, they will bring their programming to a virtual venue. They do have members from Northborough community and audience from Northborough.
Okay, all right. And any discussion, questions? All right, so I'm going to request a vote on that as well. All in favor of including them for grant approval, but not for the amount? All hands up for yes? Okay, that's everyone, 6. And show of hands for no, and that's 0. And so we move on to the next one. Lori, would you like to take it, or do you want me to just keep going? Because you would have asked, you would have be the one with more knowledge on this one.
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so the next grant is for a project titled "To Live Celebrations in Story, Song, and Music." It will be storytelling and music, a program that will take place live, hopefully in the summer. George Porcino is the artist. I have put him in contact with the Northborough Library, who seems to be interested in hosting the program. So it will take place in Northborough, and it will serve around 45 Northborough residents.
Okay, excellent. Any discussion? And not seeing any. I would like to request a vote. All those in favor of accepting this request for a grant, hands please, for yes, for approval. And so that's 6. And show of hands for no. And that's 0. So we are good. Moving on to the 8th one.
By the Ocean,
Lori?
Paintings and Poems by Lisa Hayden. It will be an exhibition of paintings and the poems that inspire them with an ocean theme, taking place in the fall of 2021 at the Northborough Library or Senior Center, serving around 150 Northborough residents.
Okay. Any discussion, questions on this one? Okay, seeing none, I would like to request a vote on this. All in favor to accept this grant request? Show of hands, please. And so that is 6. And all those who are not in favor? And that's 0. All right. Moving on to the last one. Lori, would you like to take that?
Yes, chamber music concert by the Charles River Sinfonietta. This will be a recorded program shown on Northborough cable TV as well as other cable TV stations from neighboring towns. It will not be recorded in Northborough, but if people watch on TV, it might benefit around 400 Northborough residents.
Is there any question, discussion from the team? Vic?
Yeah, maybe not a question, but the setup sounds familiar, similar to the duo pianist from the South Shore area. Is that correct? Like they're going to tape it, not tape, cable TV, record it, and then if you watch it, you watch it. But I guess the question is, what is the reference to Apple Fest? Is it happening during that event or somehow involve Northborough?
They were planning on showing during Apple Fest on doing this program on TV, but they said I contacted them and they said that even if Apple Fest does not happen or happens in person, they will still go ahead with the program.
Okay.
Recording, as it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Selby. Oh, you're on mute.
They have actually participated in Apple Fest for the past 2 years. Okay. And I think they're hoping to participate in Apple Fest this year. They probably are not sure about the format of Apple Fest this year. And so I'm assuming that's why they're proposing a virtual event. But they've been here for the past 2 or 3 years, I can't remember, participating at the Church of Trinity, I think, for the past few years.
So then I have a question. If Apple Fest occur, would our approval be contingent on them performing at Apple Fest if it occurs? And without Apple Fest, it's a pre-recorded program that anybody can watch, not specific to Northborough. Is that how you would define this project?
I guess I'm going to jump in here and say that my connection with Northborough Cable is that Apple Fest was virtual. So those of us who recorded events to be able to be broadcast under the Apple Fest activities umbrella. So things like this actually did become a really nice distraction from COVID and helping to connect our community. And I guess I look upon something like this as beneficial to the community without trying to sway anybody's vote here one way or another. Selby, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Selby.
Thank you, Craig. I love your sign language.
I'm sorry, I'm on a new device and obviously I don't have, I'm not too familiar with it yet. But I was saying that I don't see any negatives to what Vic has suggested. I think we can definitely put that in there that, we want to make sure.
And that is an important clarification on all grants. Grants are for a specific performance as described to us. In the event that is not able to happen, and their obligation to us for what we're giving them the money for, they have to either request a change and substantiate to us that they would bring something else in kind. Otherwise, if they are not able to perform live or virtually to our constituents, I think they would not meet the intent of the grant and then therefore would not be paid. And that's the process we've followed for several years.
Thank you very much for that clarification. There's some things that I just take for granted that needs to be stated since we have people that watch what we do. And so that may not have been understood, but yes. So especially with COVID, if things happen, people can request modifications, date changes or something, and then we go from there. So that's how the process works. So if there's no, Lori.
So in this case, they would have to request a modification if Apple Fest does not happen at all.
They would have to, right. So I guess with, I'm going to say this for everyone's benefit. We can only judge with the information that we have now, and given how, this is for everybody watching, given how last year was so very different and was virtual, and we had a virtual culture fest, which was amazing. A lot of local talent that we may not have normally have seen. We're going to work with what we have available to us with information tonight, knowing that if COVID continues, other unforeseen events, then modifications will be made for many grant requests. Vic.
So before we vote, then my clarifying question to Lori is, what did they ask for? To participate in Apple Fest or to do virtual? Like, I'm thrown by the word Apple Fest, but I don't hear any actual reference to them being a part of Apple Fest. So I think it's the opposite of what you said. The modification is if Apple Fest occurs, not that it doesn't occur. They're going ahead as if there is no Apple Fest.
I mean,
they're just recording this.
So if Apple Fest occurs, either in person or virtual, they will have a program that will take place during that time.
Okay.
It will be considered part of the Apple Fest festivities, even though it is recorded and Apple Fest might not be, right? I mean, I don't think that will require a modification of the grant. The grant just states that this event will take place during Apple Fest. That doesn't specify that Apple Fest has to be virtual as well, or, you know?
Okay.
From what I'm understanding, but, you know.
Thank you for the clarification, Lori. Selvi.
I guess to keep consistent, in this case, I would like to make it conditional upon participation at Apple Fest. That would be my suggestion. My approval would be upon condition of them being an Apple Fest artist. Right. Whether it's virtual or in person, it doesn't matter what format, but it would be conditional upon them being an Apple Fest artist, would be my inclination.
Is there any other input on that? Is that something, the will of the committee?
I'm fine with that, but just to be very clear, the grant request as written is for them to provide a pre-recorded concert that they will be leveraging for multiple communities, and to make that concert available to Northborough in the Apple Fest timeframe.
Okay, so thank you for that additional information, Craig. So I'm going to ask, what is the will of the committee to add this condition that Selvi has suggested? Does everyone agree with that? I guess I want to see a show of hands. The condition she is suggesting is to that they would receive the grant conditioned upon they are able to play either I guess this performance. And Craig, I think you clarified that it's going to be pre-recorded, so it would only be available if so. As I understand it, if no Apple Fest were to happen at all, then they wouldn't be able to perform and they would not receive that grant. Is that correct? No?
I wouldn't phrase it that way.
No?
I think they're going to make the recording. That's what they do. And they're going to make it available to Northborough as part of its Apple Fest celebration. I think they would be delighted to do that. If for some reason Northborough has nothing to do, has no Apple Fest, I would infer that they would still be happy to talk to NCAT and to allow the broadcast of their recording.
Right.
Okay.
And lastly, I think Selvi's provision is fine.
Okay. So show of hands for this condition. Selby, you have a hesitation.
It was her condition and she's not raising.
I just need to weigh my data a little bit more in my head, but I think that if they are an Apple Fest artist and the Apple Fest publicity is wonderful in our town, they will be able to reach more number of Northborough residents and then more of our community members would benefit from his concert. And
Okay.
is what I'm thinking right now.
Okay, and so the amount, again, I'm going to say the amount has yet to be determined. We are not at that stage. Okay, so let's have a vote with this condition.
I had a question. Laura, I think Lori, did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was thinking if there will be a difference between giving the grant with this condition or just waiting for them to ask for a modification and then we discuss the issue at that point.
We're gonna, I guess I want to ask for, so that we can cover all of the grants tonight. Shall we approve it and then, can we approve it? Can we go through and approve this and then figure out the conditioning? Selby?
When we do approve it conditionally, we just state what that condition is and move on.
Okay, so
let's kind of wrap together in this case.
So there will not be any discussion if they come back.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are already from the start telling them that there is no grant unless they do it at the Apple Fest. Then we can't have another discussion in which we say, oh, you can do it without Apple Fest, right? I don't know.
But we're saying they can do it virtual too, because it's right.
It's virtual.
Yeah, it's already virtual, and they need to be a part of Apple Fest, whether live or recorded.
Oh.
But if there's no Apple Fest, I think my vote would be different. So that's an entirely different state. So that's why we need this condition, is that I'm not convinced that it is for Apple Fest. They just happen to have been in Apple Fest in the past, and we're making that assumption. But as it stands, they're just recording this thing, which they can show at any time to anybody. So that's not a direct Northborough benefit.
I agree with
but
that.
If we tie it to Apple Fest, and the format of Apple Fest is dependent on whatever that committee does, then that's fine with whatever that is.
Okay, so I'm hearing more of a consensus. I would like to bring us to a consensus now, that if Apple Fest does not happen, the condition is that then this grant would not work, it would not be approved. Leslie.
All right, because I see that part of the name does say Apple Fest Chamber Music. Who did the application? Lori? Does it say right in the application that it's for Apple Fest?
It's just in the title, doesn't say exactly.
So it's not even saying Apple Fest weekend, whether it's virtual or in person.
No, it does not specify.
So Apple Fest, that could be misleading. Is that part of their name?
Exactly.
That's what they mean. Yes, I talked to them and they want to be part of the Apple Fest. That's what they in the.
Okay, then that makes it. So they said it's for Apple. Okay, because it wasn't in there.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this is that we have a consensus that if Apple Fest does not occur, then this grant would then it won't work. That is the condition, that Apple Fest has to occur.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to bring us to a vote. And so all those in favor, again, this is not for the amounts are not to be determined this evening. So show of hands for yes. And so that's 6 for yes, and show of hands for no, and that's 0. Okay, moving on to the next one, and that is BIC. Would you like me to read it, or would you like to go on? This is Art on the Trails 2021.
Yeah, I'll go quickly. So this was submitted by Catherine Weber. It's an event that we have funded in the past. It is an exhibition of artwork and poetry along the Beals Trail, which is in Southborough, but it is a neighboring town. And they get a lot of foot traffic from both Northborough and Southborough residents. It's about 800 people who go through there. They do have a very professional team who put the event together. a curator and poet, a professional poet who manages the project. And they actually have prizes, I guess, because they have a juror selection as well.
Okay.
Okay. And the ask is for $500.
Okay, and right. Okay, that's the amount being requested. Okay. Any discussion? Questions? Seeing none, I would like to move for a vote. All those in favor to approve this grant request, show of hands, please. And so that is 6, and show of hands for not in favor, and that is 0. Fantastic. We are moving on to number 11, and this one is called Chainsaws, Cheeseburger, and Rock and Roll Live. Vic, please.
Yes. So this gentleman, Jesse Green, the machine, he is a professional wood carver using chainsaws, and he also has a cover band, Fever Dream, and he puts on a slideshow with a motivational speech for school-age children from elementary through high school, but the age range that where he gets the most positive reaction is usually from the middle schoolers, although his material works with either high school or elementary as well. So he's out of Medway, and he's looking to do one show, and that's what the cost is for. And he would start with Milliken to ask if they're interested, and then if not, he would just ask the other schools. And so, and that's it. And all of his advertisement is just going to depend on the schools to help him with that reach. Now, he does have a virtual program, but I don't know that the school administrators would be interested in a virtual version because it doesn't have the same effect. So, at the end of the day, if he can get approval from from Milliken or whatever Northborough schools to put this on, he'd either be live or he'd be virtual, and then he can ask for his reimbursement then.
Okay, so I'm hearing that serves the Northborough community. I'm hearing that the intent is to be live, if at all possible. And so the request for this one is for $500, but amounts will not be determined this evening, just restating. Yes, Leslie.
So he hasn't even gone to the school yet and asked.
Correct.
Is it contingent upon getting money from us, or like will he still do the show if he doesn't?
No, if we don't fund him anything, he won't go into the town in this school, right? No. So he can partially fund it himself if we don't full fund him. And he will, and it's just like any other one of the applicants. It's like, do you have a location? Do you have a time? So.
But he didn't even ask the school yet. That kind of is, okay.
Selvie.
Leslie, this is the first year MCC is allowing applicants not to secure a venue and or date because of the pandemic conditions. So we've never done this before. We've always requested a venue, helped those applicants who needed a venue. Right. We always had a date. So it is a new territory for us, but maybe because of this flexibility, we are seeing applications with no secured venues and or times to be determined this year.
Right, but he didn't even ask them if he could even do the show.
But many other people have not asked if they can be at the library or at the senior center. That's just their intent.
Okay.
You see, it's the same thing.
That's okay. All right.
Yep. All right. So if we're all set, I would request a vote. All those in favor to accept this grant request, show of hands, please.
I just want to say that I'm going to abstain from it. I don't want to be in conflict in case he performs at the high school.
Okay.
You work at high school.
Okay, so all those in favor, and that's 5, and all those who do not approve, that's 0, and 1 abstain. And so moving on to number 12, Small Stones Festival of the Arts. And Vic, take it away.
It's a painting, photography, music festival held in Grafton. It'll grow this year to include local art students and sculpture. He has Northborough artists participating, 3 artists, 3 photographers. He had 2 years in a row, past 2020, 2019, 7 artists, 6 artists, etc. And it's open to everybody. And this year is going to be held at the new Grafton Library. So I imagine it must be a pretty big library. And it's a series of events throughout the month of October. If pandemic is still here, then he'll have it fully online, which he did in 2020. I keep on saying he, but the man who runs this program. So it's definitely, it's obviously a festival that meets the arts and creativity side of it. However, we do have the issue that it is in Grafton, and depending on how many people are where from Northborough, whether they might attend. So he said that, so we might put this in a contingency. He said that if he got funding, that he would make a concerted effort to advertise directly in the town of Northborough so that more people are aware of the event.
Okay. And so I also want to make the public aware that all of us have read through the requests. And so this additional comment from the people that have reached out to the people who are requesting the grants from us, this additional information is helpful to us to arrive at a decision. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts? I just know that I remember reading about this, how it sounds like a very large festival and lots of...
There were 210 artists in 2020, and it was a growth from 185 the year before that. They've been in existence for about 6-7 years. And they do mostly advertise through like the Worcester, like telegrams,
okay, publications.
Yeah, so that it tries to kind of reach the Worcester area, because that's where they are, Grafton.
Okay.
But if we wanted them to purposely reach out to Northborough residents and let them know, then he would do that specifically through means that reach Northborough residents, like putting up posters, at our library, and community advocate, or whatever the typical ones that Northborough citizens read.
Okay, all right. And so Vic has given us her more in-depth research, and I guess I'm not seeing any questions.
Actually, I have my own question.
Oh, yes.
Yes, please. But the question is to the team. So obviously we prefer to, our primary focus is Northborough residents and surrounding communities, but that word is hard to define because obviously we do the boroughs, the Southborough, Westborough, Marlborough, but how far do we go out until we say it no longer benefits Northborough? Because there is a little bit of it here with the artists participating. So we're not supporting the audience of Northborough. We are supporting the artists of Northborough. Because there are at least 7 of them who have participated 2 years in a row that he could tell me about. These artists and photographers are from Northborough.
Selby.
Vic, does he take surveys of distribution of his audience in regards to attendance from surrounding towns?
He said he did not. He could only conjecture that if his artist was 5% of the total, 5% of his total artist was from Northborough, that perhaps the audience is also 5% of the 1,000 people that he gets.
So this is a significant event. I wish, I don't know if I've had my head in the sand, but I had not. I seek out festivals and fairs and such events, and I have missed this one. So that unfortunate for me and for, if I didn't see it, I wish in the past there'd been more publication, because this feels like a really good area to
Exactly, and it's fairly
advertise
close
to.
to us versus like maybe a Boston one or a Springfield one. So it would
Sure.
have been something nice that people around here could go to had they known more about it. So I think we would have to press on him about the advertising more so if we approve this event.
I guess I would just point out to the team that this is, while Grafton isn't that far away, it isn't that close. So I just want to put that item out there. And so to keep the ball rolling here, this is item number 12. I'm going to request a vote for the Small Stones Festival to be held in Grafton. And the date is, it says October 1st to the 31st, if anybody is interested. So I'm going to ask for a show of hands for in favor to approve this grant for a yes. And with that, I see one. And now I'm going to show of hand, or do you have a question?
No,
Question. Okay, Bick?
no, I'm voting.
Oh, okay, Bick. Selby, sorry.
Yeah, so there's two. You said one, there's two of us.
Oh, two. Okay, two in favor. And those four no. And so far there's four. So two in favor, two not in favor. Four not in favor. My apologies.
I got that.
So that is the decision. And so we are moving on to Craig. Would you like to go over it, or would you like me to read it? What is your?
I'm fine to quickly summarize.
Okay, please
because I
do.
don't know if Selby is going to be constrained under time. Anyways, Expressive Art
Okay.
Therapy is a grant from the Healing Garden. It is a cancer post-operative therapeutic rehabilitation center. I believe they're based out of Harvard, up the road from us. In their grant application, they did state they have 17 Northborough residents who are clients of the center. Their grant is requesting money. They're requesting $500 to assist their artistic medium therapeutic support. They have various professional artists and skilled people come in, and it is all now virtual, where the clients are on their computers, and through multiple medium, they help the cancer post-operative clients work through their healing issues, both emotionally, spiritually, physically, however they can, through the benefits of art. And they do have different forms of art that they participate in, I think really tailoring the programs to the clients. So they're asking for $500 to support that.
Okay, and any questions for Craig on this? Because he would be the one who has gone more in depth with the grantee request.
Where are they located again?
The Healing Garden is in Harvard, up the street. They do have Northborough residents as their clients. Additionally, I forgot to add, we received a personal letter from a Northborough resident who very, very kindly, outlined the benefit of the program to friends of hers. And she was a very strong advocate for the program, and we thank her for her input.
Okay. All right, Lori.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at it with new eyes now, and I feel like it's very similar to the Grafton Festival, being far away and benefiting kind of a handful of Northborough residents.
Mm-hmm.
Although it sounds like an amazing program, and yeah.
Okay, so I would just add to the conversation that it's our part of our charge, our priorities can be looked upon as It can be something unique, something, we're in COVID. Is this something that, I mean, no, I know they said they have 17, maybe there's more. We don't wish anybody to have to use their services, but Selvi, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, for me, they are providing an art service to an underserved segment of the population.
Okay.
So that is the difference for me, Lori, between a large festival versus a population that is underserved.
Well put.
That's what I was going to
was-
say.
It was coming, but you said it. You put it well.
It's a specialized area that there's not a lot of that out there for people that have cancer
Or very, very ill.
or very ill. Yeah.
So I guess to keep things rolling, watching the time here, if there's no further input, I'd like to request a vote on this grant for approval. All those in favor, show of hands for yes for approval. And so we have 5 and for no. And we have 1. Okay, great. Thank you. And moving on, we are number 14. This is with Craig, attracting birds, butterflies, bees, and other beneficials. Craig, would you like to take over?
Yes, I'd be happy to. This is another year's request from John Root, who has participated in Northborough in the past years and has received grants in the past years. He's put on some terrific shows for our retirement communities and some of our senior communities. They focus on different aspects of nature. This program is completely virtual based. He's recording it and he is offering it to multiple LCCs throughout Massachusetts to partake in it. You know, I believe he does have a one-on-one portion of the session where he does interact with the viewers, but otherwise they're watching this recording. He is already engaged with NCAT here in town. He is already engaging with the senior center and some of the other communities to find venues for the showing of the program. Because it's on NCAT, it can be very flexible the time of the day. But he is already prepared with a standard publicity cycle on how to let the constituents here in town know about this program.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Craig on this? Any input from the team? Seeing none. And I guess I would request a vote. Show of hands, please, for approval of this grant, money to be determined at a later time.
That was yes?
That's yes. Yes. So that's 5 yes and no. That put your hands down. And for no, 0. Okay.
So, Terry, so
Yes.
6 yeses.
6 yes. Sorry. Boop. My bad. I tend to not count myself looking across. Okay. Number 15, we are Open Door Connections. Craig.
Yes, this grant is from the Acton Museum. They have a terrific program where they try to offer free admission to underserved communities, different constituents that need assistance physically or otherwise, so that if they're not able to pay the admission, they can still gain entry to the museum. They've had programs like this in the past, and they do have data that showed, I think 2 years ago, they had upwards of 90 Northborough residents visit the museum. In 2020, even with COVID going on, we had somewhere on the order of 80 Northborough residents. They extrapolate, they think that in 2021, they should still have at least 90 some odd Northborough residents visiting if the patterns hold true. They're asking $300 of us to help supplement their program to offer free entry to the underserved.
Okay. other, Bick, please.
Do we know like how does he offer these free? Do tickets like are they at the library? Like how does he advertise?
That I don't know.
Okay. So
Selby has a question.
see,
Through the
Selby.
a couple of years ago, we did a similar program with the Criterium, and we had approved, I remember, as far as I remember, if it is correct, we asked them to do publicity in our town through the library, through flyers, so that our residents did know that they had subsidized tickets available. So I'm thinking maybe we can request the same condition that they publicize in Northborough advertising their subsidization program.
Okay, so I'm hearing that we need to condition this approval with the condition that they advertise more in Northborough. Does everybody agree with that condition? Can I just have a show of hands? Okay, agree with the condition. Okay.
And I'm reviewing the application. They do have very specifically named groups. I don't know all these groups: EBT, connector care card holders, military families, educators. They do have specific demographics that they target.
Okay.
I assume it's because they have relationships with them, but they do not go on to elaborate how they do that.
Okay, so a condition would be that they would advertise in Northborough and maybe show how they do that. So I'm going to.
Can I have another question,
Yes,
comment? So this is in Acton.
The Discovery Museum is in Acton.
Which is like Harvard, which is like Grafton.
Mhm.
It's just a tad bit further away than the boroughs, right? And all these events would be more beneficial if they did more direct advertising in Northborough so people would know about it. Whether or not they have anybody today, like Harvard has 17, but they could have 2 tomorrow, they could have 30 tomorrow, we don't know. You know, and the small stones could get more foot traffic and then more advertising. And Acton Museum would get also more Northborough traffic and then more advertising. So are those three in the same kind of category in terms of location and benefit? Never mind what it is that they do.
Oops.
They all do something different, obviously.
They're all different.
Right? So
Laura, you have your hand up.
No, just to answer Big's question, from my perspective, Acton is a very unique type of museum, and this is the closest this type of science museum that we have to Northborough to access. Like a fair is not in Grafton is not the closest thing that we can have. Neither is art therapy in Harvard the closest thing. The way I see it.
So
it is different.
So if I can summarize that, you are highlighting that it's unique and does service Northborough people. And it sounds like they have a pretty good draw from Craig's information. So maybe that draw could be improved by.
I just checked the grant application. In the application, it says they have their own website. It said they have multiple social media channels, and it also says they have a 34,000 name email regular newsletter that goes out.
Okay.
And so to the idea of putting a condition on it, I think it's certainly fair that I can go back to them and ensure that they have Northborough constituents of the different groups, the different lists, some way that they are sending this offer, it's getting to our base.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for adding that. And so if there are no more questions, I'd like to request from the team to approve how many yays to approve this grant request? Show of hands, please. That is 6. Okay. And for no's, that is 0. Got my numbers right this time, Vic. All right. We are up to number 16. And the person who covered, who has most detail on this, I suggest that we proceed through.
I can try. And
Okay,
then I think
I have to abstain from it because I work there.
got it.
I can
Okay,
try,
thank you.
and then with the information of the rest of us, I think we can fill in enough material.
Yes, thank you.
Because I know most of us have read all of these grants. So
Yes.
the first one is the Crocodile River Virtual Concert. They're requesting $1,600. I believe that's to put on 4 different shows for the schools. They are already starting discussions with Northborough area elementary schools. To my knowledge, they do not have firm dates booked yet to put on the virtual show.
Okay,
We do have experience with this group, which is part of why I think Leslie just abstained. They did put on their program several years ago, I believe, in the local schools, and it was very favorably received. It's an interactive program of music.
okay. And their request amount is
1,600.
1,600. Again, I will restate, just in case anybody's just joining us, amounts are not to be determined this evening. And so, are there any questions for Craig at this point? We know that Leslie has to abstain. And so, seeing no questions, show of hands for approval of this grant request. And that is 5 and 1 abstain and 0 no's. We move on to number 17. Somebody get Leslie back.
Through the chair, please.
Yes.
I have to leave the meeting. Thank you
Okay.
so much, and I apologize that I can't stay the whole time.
Thank you for joining us, Selvi.
Thank you.
Good night. Have a good evening. Okay, number 17, we are moving here. Theater collaboration with Algonquin Regional High School.
Right, so this is
Drama.
the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild. As we reviewed previously, these are consultants and professionals in the theater industry who will come in and work with the Algonquin School in their drama theater program, giving them guidance and some expertise.
Okay.
Essentially what they describe it as is a master class. The number of people that they think are in their target range is 100 different people in the theater programs at Algonquin. You can see, well, they can't see, but they're requesting $250, which actually is less than what they got in a prior grant that we were also under the understanding that went over well, and it was a successful collaboration.
Okay, and this would be, just to recap, for high school students. And
I would offer
job.
that
Yes.
the guild is already in communication with the drama teachers. They don't have the actual workshop dates set up for
Okay.
the students with reservations, but they've already got they've agreed to the collaboration, and it's just a matter of figuring out the dates and times.
Okay, so I don't have any further questions. Does anyone else? No? Okay. So I would ask for a show of hands for approval or denial. So going with the yays first. So approval, yes, and that's 5, and no's, that would be 0. And all right, and the next one is called the NACC 50th Anniversary Celebration. Craig, are you able to?
I will try as well, yes.
Thank
So
you.
this is the Northborough Area Community Chorus. It's a long-standing music group here in town, hence the 50th anniversary. They're planning on putting on another virtual concert. So they are already anticipating the pandemic effects, but they hope to put together a big to-do for their 50-year celebration and record a performance, multiple different scenarios of the chorus. They talk about solos, duets, mixed ensembles, and then they would offer that recording across multiple broadcast channels, Facebook page, their YouTube channel, their own website, local cable if possible, and they can put that together. So I think they have tangible plans in place for all of their own channels that they control, and it sounds like they still have to talk to NCAT.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Craig? All right, I would recommend that we take a vote. Those in favor of approval of this grant, money to be determined at a later time, show of hands for yes. And so that's 5. And for no's, that would be 0. So that passes unanimous. And so the next one is the Light Cross Cultural Importance, and they are requesting $400. Leslie is our point person for this. Would you like to review this, please?
It's for 4. It's at St. Bernadette School, and it's for grades 4 through 8, and it's free. And they have a project date of February 26th. It's looking at Chinese, Indian, and American culture in light. Looks like a lot of it's going to be the Chinese festival. And they're going to have their little lanterns displayed out in the front of their school.
Okay.
Okay, and their cost, they're asking for $400.
Okay. Any questions for Leslie regarding this, as she was our point person on this? And just to remind our audience that everybody has read through the grant requests, and when we have questions to go back to individuals, we have a point person. So seeing no questions, I would request a vote. Those in favor of approval of this grant request, but not dollar amount to be determined as yet. And show of hands. Yes, that's 5 for approve and 0 for no. Number 20, we are moving right along here.
20.
Number 20 is Bake It Till You Make It.
Okay.
And this again, our point person is Leslie.
Yep. She is working on making a game, and it's for school age children, middle school, maybe high school. The game will involve mental health principles. She is asking for $2,000. But after writing to her today, I think she said anywhere from I can't remember if it was $300 to $400.
$400.
And she will bring it to the schools. She'll give a presentation, and she will leave a couple of games at the library, at the different schools in town. And she's very passionate about it.
And so just to review for those watching, this is about a board game, and she is also the author of a book, and it has to do with mental health. And she, as I recall, is from Southborough, so nearby. And it is something that would involve our schools and libraries in the region. Does anybody have any questions for Leslie at this point? Vic?
I think just general discussion as to the content of her game. The purpose is not an obvious arts culture. So can we kind of talk a little bit about the mental health aspect of it? It's a little bit different from the Harvard Expressive Arts Therapy, where that's also therapeutic, but it's actually I think people actually major in expressive arts theory. That it's actually an approach to healing with an artistic aspect. So this is healing, but I don't know that I see the artistic aspect in it unless that's how the board game comes across. So since we don't know how the board game works, it's a little bit.
Well, they're still working on it. It's not complete. It deals with coping skills, how to self-soothe.
Right.
It's going to be expressed through playing a game. It depends how you want to look at arts, but they also made concessions because of COVID right now. Go ahead, Craig.
I'll just say I don't think I'll be voting for this one, and this one is very, very challenging for me. Again, contextually, we have all these other grants of programs that are more in place, that are more mainstream for culture being art, humanities, those kinds of things, music. This one becomes a little bit of a stretch for me as it moves into therapy on the medical science side of it. It's exactly what Bick was just saying. Additionally, I have a little bit of a concern that this really is a startup. It really is at the ground level of development that we would be, I want to say investing in, but we would be supporting, which would detract from other more real programs that are in place with a demonstrated impact. So this one's a little bit of a challenge for me. I hope we can stay in contact with her.
I would just like to add that some of the research that I had done looking at the MCC website, Mass Cultural Council, so that's the statewide piece, board games are mentioned. And I definitely understand the concern about the connection with art. So I would just bring that to the attention of the members. And Vic, did you have your hand? Yes.
Yeah, can you elaborate on where you saw games? Because I would like to read the criteria for you so that because they have a lot of examples at what to consider that we may not be thinking of right now, so that might help us through that. But I didn't see anything about games when I did the research.
I'm not going to be able to tell you off the top of my head. There was a line that I had read that gave it some leeway, but I, like Craig, am going to go back to, I'm missing the line that connects the dots back to art and culture. So yes, sorry.
Right. So if you don't mind, let me just quickly do this, because this is I don't think any of us doubt the benefit of what is being prepared here, but
definitely
to meet the guidelines, right? So the first criteria is arts, humanities, and sciences. So under arts, we've got performing arts, visual, media, folk, design. This might fall into that. Literary and interdisciplinary. Under humanities, you've got types of learning that deal with human values and aspirations, human thought and culture, language and creativity. So maybe that's a good human values, aspirations, thought and culture.
Maybe right? That was it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that examples include, but are not limited to, history, social studies, philosophy, criticism, and literature. And then under sciences is science and technology in ways that explain how they relate to people's lives, such as aquariums, botanical gardens, nature centers, natural history museums, planetarium, science centers. So that's.
So again, the direct line with what our priorities are, that's a challenge. And so you and Craig have brought up some very valid points. I don't have any further questions. Is the team ready for a vote? Okay, so seeing no questions, I guess I'm going to ask for a show of hands for those who are in favor of for this grant. So that's one. Did I not say that correctly?
It's really hard, right? I'm going to interpret the interpretation of what I just read. So I'm going to give a
So
lot
there,
of leeway. 2, is that 2?
so 2 in favor of this. And those who are not in favor of accepting this grant request. So that's 3. Okay. Moving on to hip hop dance.
chair.
Okay, take it away, Leslie.
Well, it's hip hop dance chair exercise for seniors. And they don't have a date yet, but it's around the Black History Month at the Whitney Place Assisted Living. It's free for about 80 senior citizens, and they're asking $280, which we're not deciding tonight. I did have a call into them, but I never heard back.
Okay, so just to make it clear, we are working with the information that we have. And so does anybody have any questions for Leslie?
I guess it's more of an observation. I guess it's similar to some of the other discussions we've had. It's dance, and dance is an art, yes. And ultimately, I believe it's for therapy. So, making sure it's an even comparison. I think this does have a therapeutic basis via art and expression.
Okay, all right. So if there's no more discussion, I would request that the team takes a vote. And so by show of hands to approve this request. Okay, so that's 5. And who to deny, that's 0. And so we are up to,
They're recording.
okay, so I think we're it. That's it. We've made it through all the grants. And so I am going to, if there's no more discussion, I'd like to move on to the next agenda item. So I think additional grant funding from MCC, that was mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Craig, did you want to expand on that anymore or just restate?
Just briefly, because Sylvia alluded to it, MCC in their budget that was approved for this year does have additional ad hoc funding for a number of different types of programs. If anybody feels like they have additional needs, have been impacted for revenue, for operating structures, anything because of COVID, there's quite a wide range of programs that MCC has available. As Sylvie said, www.
I mix it up, that's why I'm asking.
.org.
Okay, and so that would be very easy for anyone to Google Mass Cultural Council. That is the state, the parent version of all of the local cultural councils, such as Northborough, such as Southborough. And so that is who we receive our guidance from. Yes, Vic.
Did you want to make a broader announcement to our constituents that this is available? Because only
yes,
the council.
Please take it away.
So I mean, I could just, if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about the same email. It's the one that we got today, right, Craig, from MCC? I mean, it came in my inbox today. Okay, so we can forward that back to the 20 applicants, which, because they can apply for multiple different grants, not just the one through the LCC, but I remember in the past that there was like the yellow bus grants for schools and, all that. So they may have other opportunities to get additional money there. And then is there anybody else, any other group of people that we want to notify of this?
As far as I know, it's, these are the people who have requested from us, but this is information that's available from the state.
I don't think my own answer. How about like the school principals and, that the group that Leslie, may reach out to them, like, reminding them it's grant time. If you have their email addresses handy, I can just group it all together and send one giant email to everybody. Like this, the schools and who else are the typical people if they're not already an applicant.
Vic, to your question, anybody that's performed at our cultural festivals for the last several years, you said the 2020 grant recipients, I would offer maybe even the 2019 grant recipients. I don't think it's hard, but depending if the medium is convenient, we could throw it up on our Facebook page.
That's an excellent idea.
There's just multiple channels, and maybe we could put it out there as a PSA.
For anybody watching, I just want to say that there have been times when emails coming from this team may hit your spam box. So I would encourage you to please check your spam box for notifications from us for anything or for information like this. And that I want to say again, very strongly, that we appreciate all of the people that have requested grants from us, and we wish we had more money that we could grant, but we don't. And but we want to encourage you, as was mentioned here this evening, that there are other grants available from the state as well. So not just our local council, but there are other councils and the state version as well. So please continue with your art. The community appreciates it, we appreciate it, and we can all benefit from your talents. So we are very grateful for that. Moving on, is there any other, public art? That was something that Suzanne was going to discuss, but
I can touch on that. She said she's in the middle of several very good conversations.
Okay.
MCC guidance, as well as, I believe, another town that has done this. So she's gathering information for us, and I might elaborate. You just called it public art, Terry, but anybody else that might be watching this recording, the Northborough Community Council is investigating the opportunity to have a town-wide art installation or an art offering, something that we thought we could get very excited about and really add to our town.
Yep. So the first thing that comes to my mind as an example is the great big shiny bean in Chicago. But Northborough, what would it be? We don't know. We don't have information, but hopefully we'll have something at future meetings. The select woman for Northborough, our liaison, Julianne Hirsch, had reached out to me and was, we haven't connected yet, but that was something that she expressed some interest in. So that's all I have to offer this evening. Oh, no, I do have, under any other business before the board, there was a community call from the MCC, and they just were discussing, there's all kinds of programs and things available, not so much that hit what we are trying to do, but I was not able to spend the full amount of time there. I had to leave the call early, but the arts are alive and well. And if anybody has questions on dates and so forth, it's all going to be available on the MCC site. I think, they're looking toward hopefully COVID, that we are going to be able to go back into some sort of in-person. We just don't know. Nobody knows. So we are all adapting as best we can. So lots of questions up in the air. And for people who have specific questions, I would guide them to the MCC, massculturalcouncil.org. Does anybody else have any other business that they would like to discuss? Yes, Vic.
Just a follow-up on the article that you wrote about our virtual culture fest. Did Liz Nolan get back to you?
Oh, no. Bad me. I have a sticky sitting here on my computer, just so you don't think I'm full of it. I have this, and no, she hasn't got back to me. So I think we've been crossing paths virtually.
It's fine. No, every time I see an email from the MCC, it reminds me because they highlight activities from other LCCs. So I wanted us to pay attention,
yes.
get it in there.
So perhaps I should update the article with whatever is there if she hasn't done it. I have not specifically looked for the article, but I did submit something. I rest assured. But yes, I can update it with dates and so forth. Are there any further questions or any items that we should discuss? And with that, I really want to sincerely thank again and again all of the people who have requested grants from us. And there is so much that we hope to be able to do now and in the future with people who request grants and public art. And so more to follow. And thank you very much to the team, Craig, Vic, Selby, Leslie, Lori. And I guess that's it for the evening. Do I hear a motion? You gotta unmute.
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Okay,
Second
motion. Whoa, okay, so that was Leslie was first and Craig was second.
Call Jim back.
And Jim, we are adjourned.
Absolutely.
But
Thank you.
you have to go through approvals.
Oh, approvals. Okay, so roll call, sorry, roll call. So Craig,
I agree. Approve.
Vic,
I approve.
Leslie,
Approve.
Lori,
Yes.
and I approve also. You guys keep me in line. Thank goodness.